Yeah, what's up, gang? We are back, and I have the Seawolf board out. I pulled it Friday, I think, in that video. Uh, there are a couple things I want to show you. Well, first, I should say this. I have a metal table, and multiple people have said, quit working on your boards on a metal table. I did have a mat picked out and ordered, but I completely forgot about using anything in the meantime. So right now I just have this plastic tray. I'm going to put some feet on it to keep it from sliding, but with this board it's pretty heavy, so it should be okay. Um, so thanks, Sam. I definitely have one order. The one I picked out, I picked one that's kind of like a mobile kit because I'm not going to leave that on my desk all the time, and I want to be able to fold it up and have something to put it into. So. But I think this is just fine. I really don't think I have to order one if I use this. But it has a grounding strap and stuff on it, so. So I just have put my eyeballs a little bit on this Friday and then a little bit here before I started to film. And I'm probably not going to be able to show you. So this is where the video card goes. And where did I set that? It's up here. So it goes in here. And you can see how wobbly that is. Now, it's really not, at this point, messing with these solder joints that are underneath, but I assume that at some point in time it could have. So I was going to reflow those. And a few of them look suspect, and then there's, you can see several of them that somebody else has touched up the solder. And that brings me to another thing I wanted to bring up. When I say reflow the solder, it doesn't mean to just add solder to the old solder. I'm guilty of that myself. Sometimes it's just quicker, just try to get one on there. This board isn't too old. Some of the old games, say you're working on Street Fighter is not a good example, but an old like Pac-Man or something like that. I'm pretty sure they use lead solder, and I don't even think I can get lead solder anymore. And I have a theory, and I don't know that it's true or not. I haven't really tested it, but I'm not sure if those two solders mix really well. And so it's best to just take all the solder off, clean up the solder pad so that you have nothing, and then adding fresh solder on there. And that would be the true definition of reflowing. But not very many people do it like that. And the few that do need a cookie. Okay. So let me see the one obvious problem. Now this may be hard to see, so I want to get you zoomed in on this certain spot. So you're going to have to bear with me for just a second while I get you there, right there. Okay, so I might be able to get close enough to see. See these two caps in the back. Okay. Oh God, no, I'm going to go ahead and kick it. That's great. So we're looking at this one right here. Now watch when I wiggle it from underneath. Let's see if we can see this on camera or not. Maybe I'll turn it a little bit. Isn't that the right one? Or is it this one? Aha, it's that one. It's the one next to it. Let me focus again. You see that leg moving? It's right there. So that's definitely a cracked solder joint, or there's no solder on it. As far as replacing it, it's an odd value that I don't have. I'll read it to you in just a second. Let me stand you back up again. You're slouching on me. Okay, so it was, where are we at? 1500 microfarads, 6.3 volts. I don't remember seeing that in my caps. And it looks like we have several of them. There's two here, probably two here by the size of it. No, those are 1016 volt. I have those. So what I was trying to do before I started the camera is this stupid little tester thing I got. It's like a $15 thing, and you put it together yourself. I screw with it, and it won't come on. And I think this button is actually junk, because I can get it to come on. I always do this. I'd pull it right out of view. Well, it was working earlier. Let me see. Shorten these two over here. Might as well show you. Shorten these two right here. And this is what I was doing earlier, and I don't know that's what it was getting it to come on, but I did get it to come on several times without even hitting the button. So I'm going to play with that a little bit more. And I say this in every video. That thing's not 100% accurate, but it gives me an idea. So if I'm pretty sure I don't have that capacitor, and it could just be that there's no solder on it, or it's not making a good connection is the only problem. And I also haven't looked to see where it is in the circuit, but I know it's a problem. So I was going to just pull it and then test it and see what it read before I just assumed it was okay. So what I'm going to do is, off camera, I'm going to fight with this thing for a few minutes, get it going, and then I'll pull that out and we'll test it and see how it is. And then we'll go from there. If it's good or close to good, then we'll just go ahead and clean up the solder and get that reattached, and then we'll move on to the next thing. But that's the first thing that I see that is a definite problem, so got to fix that. All right, I'll be right back. Okay, so I got those caps removed and got the area cleaned up, and the solder pads are still there, so that's good news. That one that I was trying to get out looked like it took a little bit of damage. Where am I at here? Okay, this one over here, it's got a little bit of burnt spot around it. You got to be careful using that Hacko on there, and you don't want to let your tip sit on there and just burn everything up. It's probably a little too hot for this. Where did I go? Damn it. I lost myself on camera. No, I lost the spot. Oh, here it is. Where's my finger? Let me back up. Okay. Jeez. Okay, so what I did was, I was having trouble getting it out of here. I added, even though I just cleaned it off, I cleaned it off and I added fresh flux instead of that old stuff that's been on here for, whoever knows. And then I added some fresh solder, and then I actually I took this cheap Harbor Freight. The only reason I bought this is it was $3 one day, but I needed something with a fine tip pin or fine tip on the end of it. Oh man, that thing is awful looking. It's not even that. It's only been used a couple times. But what I did was I'm gonna have to back up to show you, I think. Okay, I'm out all the way. So I put fresh solder on there, and then I just touched this to the leg, and then I got the leg where it was heating up, and then I threw this on top of it real fast and sucked it off of there. And so that worked. Don't necessarily need a surface mount iron. Just gotta, in my opinion, just clean it off and then reflow and reapply the flux. And then of course I cleaned it off again so that we can see what we're doing. So here's one. I don't know what I did with the other. All right, well, we'll just test this one because I only have one right now. But we want to see, like I said, this is just going to give us an idea, and hopefully it's close, because I don't think I have any of these. And it is 1500 microfarads and 6.3 volts. So let's see how it comes up. I like this thing. I know people rag on it, but I didn't have the money to buy anything good at the time, so I'm pleased with what this does do. Let's see what kind of reading we get. Sometimes it takes forever and sometimes it doesn't. Okay, it's coming up 1603. What did we say it was? 1500. So it's a little high, but for all we know, it could be right too. But I think that's within the range that we need to be in. So that's not a problem. I'm going to dig the other one up, find it, and then since we got nice clean spots to put the cap back in, I'm going to try to do a little bit cleaner of a job than what was done before. So I'm going to test this other one, and then we'll get them both put back in, and then I'm going to try to check continuity in between the points first and after. So I'll be back. It's taking forever for just this little stupid thing. I'll be back. Alright, I'm back. So I got the caps out, like I was saying. I tested the other one, and it was around 1625. I think the other one was just over 16. So they're probably within range. I did check continuity in between those caps, and you guys, somebody out there probably knows. I guess it's normal that it dropped down to 15 to 17 because they're both doing it. And if it's not normal, then I have some other kind of problem. But I grabbed the dust brush because this thing was really dusty on top, and I haven't really had a chance to get a good look at it. But I found something here, and one of you guys may have seen this. Maybe not though, because it was so dirty that I didn't notice it. But I just don't think I looked close enough. But if you look at these caps right here, come on, focus, focus, focus. They're definitely blown. They are swole. So those three guys are toast for sure. And I'm trying to see what they are, and they're weird too. 680 UF 4 volts. There's no way in hell I got those either. This one is an odd one. So we definitely won't get this board repaired today, but it is good that I saw them. Now I'm going to go over all of the caps with a fine-tooth comb. And that one's okay. But I'm going to pull the schematics out if I can't tell right away what circuit these are in and what's going on. But basically, let me show them on camera. This guy here, I don't know if you guys saw my other video, so I'll kind of go over it again. So this was plugged in. No, it's plugged in this way. Let's see what I'm doing now. I'm going to crack the solder joints myself. So the main power was coming in here. This is also a power. It says power 2 on it. And so I knew I had power on the board. The big fan that was sitting here, it was spinning. So I knew there was some power getting to the board. And then the graphics card also has a fan on it too. This thing needs to be cleaned real bad. And it wasn't spinning. So I searched around. I was like, oh crap, there is another spot to plug in power. So I turned it off, and I plugged that one in, turned the game back on after, I always wait 30 or 45 seconds at least, and still no power in this guy. So I wish I had a little 4-pin plug. I mean, so I would just barely set it on there, and then all of a sudden this fan would kick on. So then I would press it all the way in, and then this would start beeping, which I didn't even realize that this thing could beep. And I don't know what that means. I need to Google that if one of you guys know what that means. I'm not used to working on this PC stuff. So that was weird, and I could trick it into coming on, but once I got it on and I turned the game off and turned it back on, no power again. And then at one point I unplugged this and it still was running. So I was like, does it even need to be plugged in over there? I was confused, and at that point in time, that's when all the kids were out there screaming and sticking their head in the game, and I was like, oh, I'm done. That's enough for today. But So I'm going to look. These guys are good. So we just had a cold solder joint on the 1500 6.3 volts. So I'm going to go ahead and put that back in. And it was good to check it anyway. It was kind of a pain in the butt until I forgot I had flux. So let's figure out where these go. They are close to this. There are some traces up here on the top. And I know let me take this out. The solder pads for that thing have been worked on too. Let's see. Let me try to, okay, there it goes. They're right here. So at some point in time, somebody else had a problem and they resoldered it, or we had some high heat coming through there and they had to add solder to it. But these two definitely, that one looks like it's got a little flux, but it does look like it's factory. Come on, focus. So I definitely want to check that out, and then let's see where these are on the board. They're all the way over here. So we're going to find out, dig through the schematics and see what's all in here. And hopefully nothing got damaged, but it could be one of the reasons why we're not getting power. Because as you see, it is kind of over here. And the main power is over here. But we're not getting power across to here, at least not properly. So that's the next thing I'm going to look at. Obviously, we're going to order some of these, and I'll probably go and write down all the caps on here, and anything I don't have, I'm just going to go ahead and order, of course. And what I'm doing now, if you've seen me talking about it on Facebook, I'm ordering extra of everything because I'm now getting into board repair a lot heavier. I used to just do little simple things like caps and stuff like that, but now I'm trying to dig a little deeper. As you can see, I'm still learning, but I'm trying to learn with you guys. So if I do something that's dumb or I make a mistake, like work on my board without something non-conductive underneath it, you'll let me know. The other thing, man, is I would move the board in a couple of videos I was rewatching, and oh, it was horrible. So that's where we're standing at now. If I can't get any farther, I do have a couple other things I want to film, and maybe I'll do just do a part one of this or something. We did make a little progress. We found multiple things that are wrong. I am gonna, like I said, check this, make sure some of these traces are actually above and some of them are below. So I'm not real familiar with working on this style board. I've done it on LCD TVs. And it was kind of the same way. But if I find anything new out or I make any progress on this, then we'll come back to this. Otherwise, this one will be the end of this one probably for today, because time is moving fast on me. It's 2 o'clock Central, and we open at 3, and I got hoop fever I got to get going. That's busted out there. We got sink it that needs board work, and spin and win it needs board work, and I don't remember what else we got going. Oh, I have that monitor for the customer I need to do tonight too, so I'm going to be here all day. So I'm definitely going to get some more footage, but on this one, I don't know if we're going to come back or not. And if not, we'll be back on it next week after I get some caps. All right, we'll see you. All right, it's several hours later. I've got everything I needed to get done out there, and I've worked on this a little bit. And this is my file folder. This isn't every day that I've done, but every day I write down the games I've worked on and what was wrong and what I did. And it looks like in September of 2017, I started having issues with Seawolf, and at first it was like the settings were going weird. It said it was set to a stand up, and it's really a sit down, and then later on it was, I can't remember what it was saying, but the settings started to go, and then slowly but surely I started getting errors, and I replaced the thumb drive, and then I replaced the video card. The video card, they said, took heat damage. So I installed a fan on the inside, and the game kind of closes like this, and so the fan was down here blowing straight up across the video card. Now, basically, from what I read, everything was just super hot on the inside, and this board never got pulled at that time, and since then. And so I found, let's see, these three that were blown with you guys earlier. Then I found this one later. I found several more that had cracked solder joints, and you could see like the legs wiggle whenever you move them. So I know that it can't work the way it is. I just don't know how it worked as long, because this just doesn't look like it just happened. It looks like it's been baked on there. I drew on those so I could spot them for my boss and show him when he was in earlier. Yeah, we replaced this with this one is newer, but it's filthy. But yeah, so and this board does show signs of heat damage with the caps bulging. I mean, that could be because they got too hot for too long, and no telling how much damage it took before I put that fan in there, or even if that fan's even helping. So I'm waiting to see. My buddy Chris said this is just a standard motherboard out of any computer. I called and tried to get a quote for another one. I personally myself looked, Hap, Betson, Coastal Amusements doesn't offer any parts for it or anything like that. Nobody's calling me back from my distributor. I mean, it's way too late now. It's almost 7 o'clock. But so I had the extra time, so I wrote out a cap list. And so the location, the value here, and then I just did a summary of how many of each one. And it actually doesn't have that many caps, or that many different caps. There's quite a few of them. And then I also wrote down what was happening to that cap, just in case I needed to know later. And I wrote down the transistors, because I want to, if we're going to order the stuff for this board and I'm going to work on it, I want to have these transistors on hand. Let's see, there were 10, 16, 17. There's 22 of them, and they're like 50 cents to $1 a piece. But I'll just get a bulk buy and have extras on hand. So I'm not sure where we stand on this yet. If we can get a replacement, I really doubt it, because there's nothing available for this monitor on anybody's website. The game came out in 2008, so it's 11 years old. Anyway, I just kind of wanted to let you guys know before I left today where I was at. I didn't have a chance to start editing this video at all yet, so I figured I'd throw this in and let you know. But Chris, if you think you can throw any old motherboard in here, I'd rather do that than take all this time. And I'm not just going to replace these caps that are blown. There's actually a bunch of these that aren't blown yet, but if these are so bad, I imagine they're probably on their last leg. Some here, some there. So right now we're going to put this on the back burner. It's just a dead game. It's another one of these that don't earn that well, and so it could be time for it to be put out to pasture. But if we don't hear anything in the next couple days, my boss is going to make a decision, and I think we're going to go ahead and get the parts, because it's just cheaper than buying another game right now. And we're going to, probably after he goes to IAPA at the end of the year, he'll probably find some games, and that's when we'll get all new games in the arcade. Not all new games, but we'll replace all this little kitty stuff. But that's it for today. I do have filmed pulling the monitor chassis, and so that'll either go up tomorrow or the next day. And I still got to get the Aladdin's Castle video going. Now it's all on the internet, and I got to pull it all back off into my phone again. So, all right. Well, thanks for watching. And like I said, if you guys have any suggestions or anything, or you saw something that I was doing wrong, feel free to just holler at me in the comments, because I do stuff wrong all the time. It's no surprise. All right. I'll see you guys.
What did you think about that video? Did you like that video? I loved it. Was I not in it? Well, then I didn't love that. I better been in that video. I hope you liked the video. It was definitely my best work. If I'm not in that video, you better watch this one over here. Oh, if you're not going to do that, just subscribe. You'll get a notification. Bye.